All right, and we are back in the world of Timberborn, and today we are going to make some beavers very happy. See, since we have finally solved surviving, we've built a large reservoir, we've cracked bad tides completely, we can focus on what's really important, and that is getting the most out of life, because up to this point we have just been scraping by to survive. But now we are safe, the land is lush and green and is likely to stay that way forever, so we can take a few minutes to figure out what will make our beavers happy and to build our colony into a thriving paradise for all of beaver kind. Now, making the beavers happy is going to require us to balance two different sides of things. We're going to need to minimize things that make them unhappy, things like being hungry or thirsty. And we also want to maximize the good stuff. Now, being hungry or thirsty is actually a really big deal. It's a huge penalty. And one of the things I noticed was that when we had beavers who were out working on large construction projects far from the town, if they became hungry on their way out of town, then they would get maybe a -10 penalty to their well-being that would persist for several hours, even over half a day, just because they would go out, do their work, finish the job, and then come back. And if that took 12 hours, then they were bringing down the entire colony by suffering that massive penalty. And I think this underscores the importance of having, overall a well-functioning town and good logistics and things. However, there's a lot of other stuff that we can do. So for example, we could find a way to give our beavers wet fur or increase their food offerings in order to boost their wellness. And that is the main goal of today's episode, is to push to a level 15 wellness and unlock the Iron Teeth. Now, we're probably not going to play as the Iron Teeth for a while. We're going to finish this playthrough and explore all that the folk tales have to offer us. But that is on our list. So let's go ahead and take a look at these well-being and decoration buildings, because there are several buildings in here that I think give us an advantage simply by being nearby or by existing in the town. And we built this this rooftop terrace, for example, and that's a great example of those. I think we can also shorten our workday. I don't think we need beavers working 20 hours a day anymore. I think we're going to have plenty of beavers working just with what we've got. Although the food may be an issue. We may want to go ahead and set up another farmhouse up here. So let's go ahead and just do that. Just get that, make sure that we're well equipped and well situated there. But outside of that, I think we are in a pretty good place. And this one, we'll set that one to focus on harvesting, this one to focus on planting, and we'll put 2 workers in each. There we go. And that should work. All right, we have a bad tide started, and our water here is almost overflowing. Is right at the lip of our reservoir. And that is fantastic. I love that. It looks fantastic. The hills are alive and green. Oh, it's so exciting. So even though this is a 15-day bad tide, we are in no danger here. But we do want to expand our population a bit, and we also want to start meeting some of these additional needs. So let's go ahead and go through some of these well-being structures and see what we can build. And I think the campfire is a great example of this. I think if we build a campfire, then the beavers will just visit it, and that will boost their well-being. Now, we may actually need multiple of these because it looks like, yeah, there's just not very many people who visit it at a time. There's only 5 seats, and so that is giving us a nice little bump. But let's see, actually, if we find one of the beavers who's been there, let's wait for somebody else to visit it. We select one of these beavers. Let's watch his campfire and see how long it takes for that to decay. So he's not there. Okay, so that's a few days before that'll fall off. Oh, and we can actually see the bonus that each item will give. So a dance hall would give us +5. Oh, and the monuments would give us a nice big boost too. The farmer monuments +3, beaver statue is +2. So these are things that we can figure out. For now, though, let's start working on nutrition next, because that's something that's going to take some time to set up, and I think grilled potatoes are a good candidate for what we want to build. Now, we have our old farmhouse down here. I think we can go ahead and set up a small potato field down here. Now, a grilled potato also needs to be cooked, and so we can cook these potatoes in the grill. And of course, we'll want to set up some storage for grilled potatoes. So this can make grilled potatoes, and this storage building will hold our grilled potatoes once they are cooked. And then, of course, we can re-enable our farmhouse. We are very short on workers, so I think we also want to go ahead and set up some more housing. So let's go ahead and set up a couple of double lodges here. Actually, I think what I want to do is set up some upstairs housing on this main road, because one of the things I noticed, if we go and look at some of these well-being items, for example, or maybe it's the decoration items we were looking at, the beaver statue. This gives us a range of what it impacts. And so if we can set up a beaver statue right where all of these beavers will see it, perhaps right there, then that will sort of boost anybody who lives in this region. Now, in order for us to access these houses, we're going to need to lay down some platforms here, and then have some stairs that lead up to them. That is no problem for us. And a path up here. Now, we have just added 24 more houses worth of beavers there. Fortunately, we should have the water with our 2 large water tanks for that and our large reservoir, but we do need to make sure we are producing food. So let's go ahead and continue dropping down some food and some crops that our beavers can eat. Now, sunflowers, we know, grant some amount of bonus, and we have some sunflowers, but I also want to play around with wheat. So let's go ahead and lay down some wheat fields. And I think that'll do. We can go ahead and actually, you know what? Let's clear out. No, we'll leave the wheat there. That's fine. And then the beavers from this town can harvest the wheat and potatoes and run a path to connect up right there. All right. So now wheat is another interesting one. I believe the wheat will require us to use, a grist mill in order to grind the wheat into flour. So we can go ahead and set that up. And then we are going to need a bakery, which will cook it into bread. Unlock the bakery as well. Make sure we're making bread. And make sure that this is set to make wheat flour. And just as before, we can also set up some food storage there. I think that will do really well for our beavers. This one can hold bread. Now we're actually running low on carrots, but we are getting potatoes. So hopefully we do have some raw potatoes now. Go ahead and prioritize working at our grill so we can get those potatoes grilled and people can eat them. Because the potatoes are actually more space efficient than carrots. They grant more food per crop. They take longer to grow, but even so, one crop provides 6 food, whereas one carrot only provides, I believe, 3 food. Or one potato crop provides 4 food, whereas one carrot only provides 3. All right, we've gotten up to well-being 11. That is excellent news. One of the other things is the monument. So we have the farmer monument unlocked. Let's go ahead and build one of those, because I think that will do a lot. That was a +3 boost, and we're doing really well already. We are out of logs. We've been doing so much building lately that we have managed to run ourselves out of logs, or maybe we're just storing them all up there. Okay, so we're not low on logs at all. We have tons of logs. But it does mean we can delete this log pile and reclaim that space for perhaps something else. Now, the dance hall looked like it was going to be pretty good. So it's an open hall where beavers let their tails loose. So that's a large building. It does take the large planks or lots of things. But I don't see why we can't go ahead and set up one of those. Or even, ooh, here's an idea. What if we did this up on top? Can we build some more platforms up here? This is actually a really interesting idea for me. Let's see. We do this and then set up some stairs up there. So, another platform. Oh, and the beaver statue is done. We got up to 14. We're getting close. And then set up our dance hall. 1.2k science. We don't have enough science. And we don't have enough workers to easily get the science. Oh, that's what we've got to do. I mean, that's obviously has to be our main objective there. So, let's prioritize science. Let's go into our priority menu and just say science is suddenly a top priority. Then as we get more workers, we will, because we do have a ton of beavers growing up. This is actually highlights another concern I have about our population. When we build a ton of houses like this, we have a ton of kids all at once. It means those beavers are all going to like grow up at the same rate, or, you know, mature at the same time. And they're all going to grow old and die at the same time as well. And that is concerning because if we are not ready, then that could lead to like rolling waves of worker shortages. You know, every 50 cycles or every 50 days, we lose half of our population and they get replaced in relatively short order. But if that happens at a bad time and we don't have food storage set up, then that could be a pretty painful time. And it's one of those things that probably won't lead to a colony to collapse all on its own. But if it's paired with a particularly bad set of droughts or, you know, a mistake in construction that floods the town or something like that, it could collapse the town in conjunction with those other things. Oh, this is exciting. And the other thing is that if a lot of people are coming up here to visit this, we could fill in the stuff around it with some of these other items. So like we've got small gaps and spaces that we could put in. Put in like a detailer, for example. All right, we have enough for the dance hall. Let's go ahead and unlock that and get that constructed. And then let's see what else we can put in up here. Shrubs take 20 science and boost well-being within one tile. That means, so that'll help the people who live in these houses or who walk along that main housing path or who visit the dance hall. And that is great. Scarecrow. We could do a scarecrow over as part of our farm fields. That'll boost our aesthetics a bit. There we go. Didn't quite have enough for it. We've got roof tiles. Lanterns. Ah, we could do some lanterns. Aha, we have done it. New faction unlocked. The Iron Teeth. We're up to 16 average well-being. That is fantastic. I love it. Let's go ahead and keep going for just a little bit longer and see what else we can unlock. Let's take a look at where we are at. So our campfire and rooftop terrace are both being well utilized. We haven't met the wet fern need yet. I wonder if we could do something with that, but we do have bread and grilled potatoes. So grilled chestnuts and spatterdock, as well as cattail crackers and maple pastries could be options there. The dance hall is not connected by paths yet. Let's go ahead and run our path up there. That will allow our beavers to go up and dance. All right. Let's see, what else could we do? So there's a detailer, the Lido, the carousel, and the mud pit. I think if we select a beaver, we can see what those are worth. So yeah, the carousel and mud pit are worth 3 each. The detailer and Lido are worth 1 each. And the bulletin pole, is that under decoration? Page bulletin bowl. Decorative pole for public messages. Okay. So again, I think we could just set that there. We don't have enough science for it though. Ah, that's a bummer. All right, what else can we do? So the contemplation spot. And so occasionally we've got, I think we can do a contemplation spot. It's only 100 science. Lock that. And where can we build a contemplation spot? Let's do that back here. Let's do 2 of them. We'll build a road back to them. That'll also give us access behind the houses if we want to expand some more things there. And then let's see, what else do we have? Oh, the Lido. This one. Oh, and it needs wet fur. Needs access to water. And set this up right here. Yeah, there we go. Just see how high we can get this relatively easily. Let's just keep it rolling. The detailer requires haulers. We do have haulers. They're paused right now, but we can go ahead and set up a couple of haulers there. And then detailer is 1,000 science, so that's going to be pretty expensive. Carousel takes power. Where was the mud pit? There it is. So, requires haulers, fun mud pit, relaxing mud spa. Takes wheat, which we do have, but not very much. What else can we do in decoration? So we've got the bulletin pole. We'll just set that right there. I think that will boost our people. Now that our population has grown and recovered, we want to make sure that we have people working wherever they need to be working. We also want to be watching closely our food supplies to make sure that it doesn't run out. This is a long drought, so this was, I think, a 17-day drought, and we've lost about a tile of depth there. We are doing just fine on water, though, so I'm not worried about that. Oh, let's see. The Agora. Ground only, requires haulers, must be built. Oh, and it does require extract as well. So we don't have extract. I don't know what that is exactly. So since the beavers require wet fur, I wonder if it would be beneficial for us to put housing in a place where they have to like swim through the water, if that gives them a boost to their happiness each day. Beavers are happier than ever, well-being plus 3. So, alright, what can we do next? I don't think we need these 3 water pumps. We can certainly take down at least one of them and possibly use this space for more social structures. Okay, so the detailers use extract as well. Mud pit uses dirt. I don't know how to get dirt yet. Carousel only uses power, so that might be something. I think everything else up here. So that's about all we can get out of well-being. In monuments, if we had the science, we could do the brazier of bonding. That wouldn't be that hard. That would actually be another great space for there, but that's, again, a huge amount of science. Oh, rooftops. We could do some rooftops. That would help some of the beavers. So we could do like a 2x2 roof there. It's only 120 science and fairly cheap to build. Grants an aesthetic bonus. I think that might be about all we can do, though. I think we can put some of these... Yeah, let's go ahead and put these roofs on our food storage buildings because we know the beavers are going to visit those with some amount of frequency. And that way they will benefit from it. We'll do roofs on those. And then we could even potentially put... there was another one I'd seen. Yeah, the lantern was another one I wanted to unlock. And we could put a lantern on those. Is that reachable? No, it's too far. So, can't do that one. That's okay. What we might be able to do, since we know people are going to be coming upstairs to visit the dance hall and to pass through this area, take the lanterns, place a lantern there, and another one over here, I think. So is a good candidate for it, because that'll get anybody who's traveling over into our industrial area or who works along this pathway, the lantern as well. It gets us up to 28. And that's our average. Yeah, we do have some people who are better. And look at the bonuses they're getting. For a well-being of 25, we're getting 100% working speed bonus. At 22, we get a 30% movement speed. And at 27, we get a 60% life expectancy bonus. Those are huge. So, I think we have some very happy beavers indeed. And with our water supplies, like the drought is just ended. We're starting to get water flowing back in. We haven't even filled this up yet, but we didn't even notice the drought. You know, it's almost like we can safely ignore it. And that is such a blessing. I think the one area where we see an issue is with the power that's being provided by these tools. And that is something else we can do. We have this set high. If we set that to 85, we set these sluices, currently set to 85, to 90 or even 95. And then that should allow a very small amount of water to flow through and that water wheel to spin. Now, I don't really know how to automate that because I do think that would actually drain really quickly. So I wonder if we want to take these sluices and set most of them low, but set one that doesn't synchronize and is just a little bit higher. We don't want to risk it. It is not worth risking losing this reservoir of water at this time. We can focus on doing something like that once we start working to utilize the bad water for that purpose. Alright, let's take another quick look around just to double check that there's nothing. I do quite like some of these decorations. I think one thing would be really cool is setting up fences around our fields and really beautifying the city. I think that's definitely something we're going to want to play with. We've been very utilitarian in how we've been building so far, and I think that might be something we want to correct going forward and really look for aesthetic choices in how we place down buildings and organize districts and things. And now that we aren't frantically scrambling for survival, I think that's something we can afford to do. So that is something we will plan for going forward. The other challenge there, though, is that's going to require a ton of materials, and we currently have a worker surplus. Don't have a food surplus at this time. We're doing okay on food, but not great. So I think we want to expand our food production and start figuring out how we can reorganize some of our industry in order to be a little bit more efficient. Possibly even construct an industrial district over here that'll take more advantage of this long trench. So I think that's what we will focus on next time. I think that's where we're going to leave it for today. Hopefully you have enjoyed this episode. Leave a like if you have and subscribe if you'd like to see more. My name is Dakoba, and I hope you have an epic day. We'll see you soon.